How are ya?
Good. I'm just sitting in the parking lot in a very not good parking spot to try to get my son from school.
Oh,
I'm not going to park like way away, so I just kind of float here to see if I can catch him before people start yelling at me.
I do not miss those days, let me tell you.
It's only twice a week because he does a hybrid school, so only 2 times a week I have to do this, but it works out.
Oh, is that a COVID protocol?
Yeah. No, he picked this school when he was in junior high before COVID hit, and this was a part homeschool, part on campus.
Oh, that's so
And then when
cool.
COVID hit, he was 100% online like everybody else,
Yeah,
and now he's part online, part on campus. So
that's so cool.
yeah, it works out.
My kids aren't, sorry, I had to put my little shelfie thing here. I don't think my kids learned anything in 2020 when they were at online school.
I know it wasn't for everybody, and quite frankly, I feel like kids that were stuck at online self-taught themselves,
Oh yeah,
right?
totally.
Because I think
Yeah.
The teachers weren't ready or
Mhm.
prepared to do that, and I know he did, but not all kids did well with that. But my kid excelled. Now he's like, I don't even have to go to college. I could do everything from home. I'm like, oh dear God,
A lot of
get
college
out of my
classes are
house.
online though. He'll find that. But
I
yeah,
know. I'm going to tell him he could do hybrid. He could do part online, but he absolutely has to go to college. So
my son
yeah.
graduated from high school in 2020. So I didn't really care
Oh,
much about him because by the time it hit, like right when we got back from spring break, it's like their senior
yeah,
year, they're,
yeah.
they're checked out
That
anyway.
was Yeah, but still, that was an awful way to end a senior year for that year of kids.
Yeah, you know what though? You don't know what you don't know. So like I knew what he was missing. I
Yeah,
knew prom wasn't happening and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't know. So
right.
it wasn't as big. I think it would have been it was a much bigger deal than my daughter, who was a junior in 2020 when she was a senior in 21. And it was still, everything was locked down. Yeah, that was tough. She was not happy about that.
Yeah, no, I get that. So, but he's a sophomore this year, so he's got 2 years left of this kind of schooling. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of
just
nice
in it.
though. Well, that's kind of
Yeah.
nice. Hey, Laura, I'm here.
Yeah.
You're on mute. Laura, you're on mute. Can y'all hear Laura? I can't hear her. Are you plugged in, Laura?
How about now?
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, my microphone was sitting on mute.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm right above you. I don't know how it looks on your screen, but I'm right above you on mine. So I can see you just fine. And we've only got another minute.
Well, Trish, I hopped on a few minutes early just to say hello. And Trish has actually already started recording. I can't speak after that Sam call today.
Well, since she's already started recording, then maybe we'll just get started.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I am down.
Let's just get started. There's 67 people already on the line ready to go. So welcome, everybody. Just a smidge early to TNT. I'm Laura, and I am the founder of Coach Me Laura, as well as Notary Symposium and a co-founder of Notary Business Builder. We don't have Bill today, but I have somebody else for you. Jen Neitzel of Signing Agent Marketing is here. Jen, would you introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. I am Jen Neitzel with Signing Agent Marketing and a co-founder of Notary Business Builder with Laura and Bill. And I am thrilled to be here to help co-host TNT today. Like Laura said, Bill had an appointment this afternoon. So she and I are taking the reins and we're going to have some fun today.
We are. So, every week, the drill, right? People call in with their questions. So here's the format. You're going to start with your name, tell me your state, and then my question is, and then go ahead with your question. If you want to ask a question today, all you need to do is go to the reactions and raise your hand, and then we'll take you in the order in which we see you. Now, I know people post questions in the chat, and some of you may help each other If Matt's on the call, I ask that he lend a hand. If Griff's on the call, I ask that he lend a hand in the chat for us. It's very hard to communicate with you guys and respond to the chat directly. That
And
tells
I'll
me
help.
it's 12
I'll
o'clock.
help. Yeah, I'll help keep an eye on that as well too,
Okay,
Laura.
beautiful. Thank you. All right, so we're going to get started, and we're going to start with Henry. Go ahead and unmute.
Hey,
There
guys.
you go.
Good afternoon, Laura. First,
Hi,
I want to
Henry.
thank you for your New York notary presentation that you did for us last week. I really got a lot out of it. I really enjoyed it, and I just thought it was powerful.
Thank you so much. And Henry, what's your question today?
No, that was it. I just wanted to give you a big shout out and a thank you.
Well, you know what? You can raise your hand for that anytime. I so appreciate it. And we are going to have another one, guys, lined up. And I'm back on the west side. I can't tell you the state today, but we will announce it next Tuesday. Okay. Then let's go to Dee Dee. Go ahead and unmute.
Okay, hi, thank you very much,
Hey.
Laura and Jen. Nice to talk to you again since yesterday.
Yeah.
So I actually sent you a private chat thing. I wanted to ask a general notary assignment question, if that's okay, that I received.
Okay. I didn't see the private chat,
Oh,
but okay, go ahead and
I
ask.
just did it. So I'm in Nevada and I received a general notary work assignment. I checked with the NNA, but I'm just not comfortable, so I wanted to run it by you. So it's a HIPAA form they sent me, but there's specific instructions. It's a lawyer's office, and they said specifically I had to follow these instructions. It says to release to should include the law firm, and I authorize, and dates of service portion should be left blank on the document. So I reached out to NNA and they said, yes, because it's okay because they're specifically asking you to do that. Just make sure the client is aware. How does that sound to you?
Well, yeah, it can. There are going to be exceptions to the rule.
Uh-huh.
When something is specifically designed to be left blank for the receiving agent to fill, receiving agency to be filled in because they're going to get that information after the fact, I'd make a note in the journal of what was blank and also make sure that the signer is willing to sign it with those blanks.
And that's exactly what the NNA said. It just seems odd to me, but okay. That's what I will be doing.
It's not often, but sometimes that's just how their process works.
Okay. It's, you know,
Thanks.
I wouldn't be comfortable doing that for myself, but that's okay. All right. Perfect.
To the
Thank you.
signer.
Exactly.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you so much. That was perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dee Dee. Thanks. I'm going to go to Ev.
Hi, quick review. I'm doing today a junior. It's I don't know, a HELOC or something, doesn't
Uh-huh.
matter, but junior, what are the rules on what I should accept?
Okay, so with suffixes, there's a high potential for fraud. So I don't do name variation with that. If junior's on the document, I need to see junior on the ID. If
Junior's
junior's
on
on
the
the ID, they need to get it onto the document if it's missing.
Okay, yeah, that it's on the documents, so it must be on one of his IDs.
Yes.
Or both?
Well, I just need one.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's go to Steve-O.
Hey, Laura, how's it going?
Good. What you got?
Hey, my question was, I actually just got my first general notary job I'm going to in like an hour. And I just got the Square terminal set up. And my question was, if somebody's paying me cash, already use Notary Gadget now. Do you use, like if they're paying you cash, do you still, I don't know if you use the Square terminal or something similar, but would I still enter the information in there as far as for accounting or tax purposes and then also use Notary Gadget? Or now because I have Square, do you understand what I mean? I don't know.
You know what? I use Square for credit card purchase only, so I don't really have a lot. And so that means for me, I have to enter it in showing paid on Notary Assist. But Jen, do you have any information on that?
Well, I actually don't use either. I still don't accept credit cards, but we do have something in the chat that says you can generate a receipt for cash in Square. So for your profit and loss, and then Tabitha saying put it in Notary Gadget to capture the income, and then just so you can also track it in Square, generate that receipt for cash.
Okay, so it would make sense. It would make sense, I mean, to enter them in both, even if they are just paying cash, just because, I mean, it's not going to hurt to also use Square as far as for tracking it.
No, I don't think it's going to hurt you, but it would be easier at the end of the year to have all the numbers in one place.
That's what I was
Use the
thinking.
Square to generate the receipt for your client, but get the information over into Notary Gadget. So when you run a report, an income report from that software, you've included everything.
Gotcha. That's what I thought. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
with
Thank you,
us.
Jen, too. Yep.
You're welcome. I don't know how much help I was, but Teresa, hello. How are you today?
Good, good. I just talked to you like 10 minutes ago.
I know.
Hey, Laura, I wanted to know if you use Zelle and Venmo and the credit cards, how do you keep track of the fees that you're charged for those things?
Well, I think that's a fabulous question, and I can answer part of it. When I use Square or the merchant card for credit card transactions, at the end of the year, they send me a statement that says, here's how much I paid in my credit card fees. Now, Zelle and Venmo, I would assume also have to send you something if it's over, if you have sales over a certain amount, they're required by the IRS to give that to you. But I don't use Zelle or Venmo. I only accept check, cash, or credit card. So I cannot speak to them. Matt's saying that Venmo also sends something. He's not sure about Zelle. So if you're using Zelle, then you would probably want to check out, unless anybody here in the chat is using Zelle and can speak to that, that they send you a 1099 that says, here's how much you paid in credit card fees. Stripe, I know does, because I use Stripe as well.
Okay.
They came out with a new law saying that, I can't remember.
Over $600.
Yeah.
They have to
that
give
they have to send you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a violation of the Patriot Act if they didn't. So all of these new cash apps are having to do an over $600 statement to send you. Yeah.
Okay, they must, you know, I think I looked for that last year and I didn't see anything because I think I must have made.
It just came out in
Yeah.
late 21, I believe it was.
Well, yes, for 22.
Oh, it's new, it starts in 22. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, all right, well.
But I did get them last year. I was already getting them.
Okay, maybe I missed it because I don't think I got anything that was a 1099 or, yeah, because I don't think I got anything that from Square that told me I spent that much.
So it's probably, you could probably go right into your dashboard and find a report on it.
Find a report on it
yourself.
Okay.
And it's your responsibility, whether they send you a 1099 or not, to account for all your income. And of course you want to account for any of the fees because that offsets the income for your tax liability.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So even if they don't do it, you need to do
You
it.
need to do it. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay. Beautiful. Thanks, Teresa. All right, Phil, you're up. What you doing, Phil? You can't unmute?
There, Phil?
Well, Phil, we're going to skip you and come back to you.
I just figured it out. I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay.
I was caught unaware. I didn't expect to get there so quickly. But good afternoon, everybody. My name is Phil Shan. It's always great to be part of this motley crew that's getting motlier all the time. Now we have Jen Neitzel as part of it, but it's great to see everybody. As everybody knows, I do about a 20-minute presentation, 5 minutes after Tuesday Notary Titans. So please feel free to join me. My phone number is in the chat. I don't know if you can type up what Bill types up. I know he has it listed on the bottom of his landing page on
The TNT page. So if you
The
go to
TNT page, thank you.
notarycoach.com
Thank you.
/TNT and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll find it.
Great. Thank you very much. And Laura, congratulations. Jen, great to see you.
Good to
Thank
see you too.
you.
Phil, can you give me your phone number really quick so I can put it in the chat?
Sure, it's 408-821-2198. That's 408-821-2198. Text me if you'd like to get the link. That might be a little easier than looking it up. But thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. Uh-oh, what's going on with the Zoom here?
Oh, somebody is sharing their screen with us.
We need them to not do that. There we go.
Go.
Okay. So let's see. Phil
Brittany.
is done.
Looks
Brittany.
like Brittany's up.
Hi.
Hey, Brittany, how can we help you today?
So,
Oh, but tell us
I
your state, Brittany.
so I am in Arizona.
Thank you.
I am pretty darn new, just finished my NSA certification and all that too. I have a question as far as remote notarization goes for Arizona. We are allowed to do so. However, I haven't found a platform that charges me less than I'm allowed to charge per notarization. Is that a common issue? Or am I maybe missing something important here?
Yeah, well, what you're missing that's important is that one, you're not going to find one. Two,
Okay.
Arizona statute did not provide for a technology fee of any kind. So you're going to be upside down. It's really
Yes.
not your time yet.
Okay.
They really need to change the statute to accommodate the expense for the notary to use the platforms.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been finding. I even went ahead and wrote into the Secretary of State's notary department, and they said, nope, you're not allowed to charge a mobile fee. You're
No.
only allowed to charge that $10 maximum, and pretty much you're just out of luck. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
So I just
pretty
wanted to
much.
verify.
And
that
so
I
that's
was.
why, Brittany, that's why it's important that notaries, if they want to see a change, they need to advocate for themselves, because Secretary of State isn't going to change it, right? You need to lobby your lawmakers, as Matt is saying in the chat, to let them know that you need a new bill that will provide for that, so that you can participate and serve your consumers. Because
Right.
really, you're not being able to serve your consumers in that way. But until that happens, nobody's going to do it for you.
Gotcha. Okay. I
Okay.
think that was it. I appreciate your time so much.
Anytime. Thanks for calling in today, Brittany.
Thanks.
Oh, Salisha, how you doing?
Hey, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, happy Passover, happy Easter.
You got them all.
Got them all. So I did a bridal show a couple of weeks ago, and one of the reasons I did the bridal show was, one, for exposure. Number two is I knew I would get an email list for everybody that was at the bridal show. So while you only get married once, or we always think you only get married once theoretically, I now have this email list of 1,400 brides. So what or how do I take that email list? I know this is probably a Jen Neitzel question. How do I take that and market my notary and remote online notary to these 1,400 people?
That is a great, great question. And the first thing that comes into my mind is integrity, because the last thing you want to do is send out broadcast emails to all these folks and turn them off, right?
Right.
So I would utilize that Tom app you've got. And Laura, if you disagree, let me know, because that's going to allow you to stay within integrity. Now, what I would do is contact support at Rapid Funnel and have them dump all of those contacts into your Tom app for you. They will do that if you ask them. Have them dump those contacts in there for you, because you don't want to be sitting there entering 1,400 phone numbers and email addresses into your CRM, right?
No,
So,
I mean, it came on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So
But
you don't have it electronically?
I mean, I have an electronic spreadsheet. I mean, I have,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
can pull it from that.
They can pull
into
it
a
from that.
CVS format.
Mm-hmm. They'll pull it from that, and they'll do the file dump for you. Basically, they'll dump it into your Tom app.
okay.
I would ask, maybe put the label on it that says 2022 bridal fair, whatever, however you want to label it, so
Right.
and then use the technology there, so that you're not spamming and you're approaching it.
No, I'm right. No, I don't want to spam anybody. It's like,
Yeah.
because I mean, I know that CRM stands for, what is it? Client Relationship Management or something.
Mhm.
But I think of, I think,
CRM, Client Relationship Manager. That's your Tom app.
yeah, but I think CRM stands for cram it down people's throats. I mean, that's just what I think. When I think of CRM, it's like, and I don't want to do that.
In a spammy way, it can be. So I think leading with that is probably your best bet. And Tom, the Tom, or to Lisa and Andrew, the Tom app is available inside the Notary Business Builder community. Celicia is a member, and that's why I was saying that to her. It is a CRM, or customer relationship manager, that is offered as part of your Notary Business Builder membership fees.
But I just wanted to throw that out that, I was at a bridal show. Obviously, I'm a wedding officiant, but I got all those names. And like I said, you only get married once, but you need a notary 100 times, in your life. And so I'm approaching it to be able to, go forward with that. So, I just want to give everybody a heads up to, like, don't just look at only people that you think need notary, because everybody does.
Mhm.
And there's so many different, the niches, the riches are in the niches.
Yeah.
And as Laura
That's
Biewer
true.
says. And so, look around. I mean, there's lots of places.
Will you bring that to orientation on Monday? And I will have had thought of some ideas and resources that you can use to reach out to those folks at that point, because you'll need to create some new resources and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that that's probably an issue that other people have been in as well, that they get a big master list and like, okay, now what do I do with it?
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of just topic in reach out, I mean, I would start with, well, congratulations, right?
Mhm.
There's some big event happening for them, or going to happen for them. And, it doesn't have to be a sales, pitch.
Right.
It can just be, I see you were at this bridal fair, and congratulations are in order. Just would love to keep in touch. And if not, good, they get rid of you. And if they're okay with it, then you would have something different after that. But I would start with why they were there. It's about them.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Great question, and good for you. That's a great way to get out and grow your business. I love that. We had a question in the chat if I had any recommendations, or if we had any recommendations on a free CRM. HubSpot, I know, has a free CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know of any other free ones, Laura?
That's the one that I've used before. Tom, was HubSpot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And Zoho, Christine is saying
Zoho.
Zoho has a free CRM as well.
Beautiful. All right. Well, that was a different question, and that was a good problem to have. So thanks for presenting it. I don't happen to see hands up. If you're posting questions in the chat and you'd rather talk to us about it, all you have to do is go down to the reactions little face down at the bottom, click on it, and you'll see a hand raise. And then you can raise your hand instead. All right, Emily, go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us your state and what's your question.
Hi, I'm from California. And this might sound like a stupid question, but what do you think about marketing yourself or passing out business cards at a funeral service?
Excuse me. During a funeral service?
No,
Or
not
you
during the
mean
service.
at that kind of facility.
Well,
That kind of event.
not during the service, but afterwards at the reception.
So I do work for mortuaries, funeral homes, but the work that I'm hired to do, I'm hired by the facility rather than the mourners or the family. And so I'm brought in when arrangements are being made, because that's when they need me. Usually it's a cremation or a, what do you call it? An assignment release. So I haven't thought of doing it later, but I guess I would always have them on me. I don't feel like I'm comfortable in that particular scenario to hand out my card. I think if you want to work with that particular kind of business, the people you're targeting are the staff there. Now, some of them will have their own notary on site and some of them don't. I take care of both. When they have one, the one is during business hours, but they may not be available or there at the time that they've brought in the family. So I get called in as the backup notary for that. And then the other one that just doesn't have a notary on site, then I take care of them as well. Jen, do you have anything you want to add to that conversation?
I think that I agree with you totally. You want to target the people running the facilities because they're the ones that are going to, need you when the family's there making some very tough decisions. Mm-hmm. I don't think that targeting a funeral service and that includes the reception afterwards, is probably I think you might piss some people off, right? And they have enough on their plate that day to not want to have to deal with that. So,
Right.
I would leave a bunch of business cards with the facility and let them know that you're totally fine with them passing them out to whomever they would like, whenever they would like, because, you want to work with your community and help them as best you can. But I would not make the function itself, the actual service or after service itself, where you go to pass out business cards.
Right, I agree with you. And the reason I asked is because I went to a funeral service Saturday. And I thought that would be really inappropriate to do that, to pass out business cards. So as Laura said, I think maybe beforehand to go to the mortuary or go to the, excuse me, I unmuted myself, go to the funeral party and distribute cards with them.
I think how I approached it, I personally made connections through my local chamber of commerce with the funeral home in my hometown. And we set up a one-on-one and we got together and I just let her know, because they have a notary on staff, if they had a family in at a special time or they needed, because they kind of operate, funeral homes kind of operate 24/7. We don't really realize that, but they're constantly doing something. That if they ever needed me, that I would be thrilled to come in and help them. But that was like a behind the scenes I had with the actual funeral home, the people that ran it themselves. So yeah, during those times when they're facilitating a service or the celebration of life after, not a good time in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get your take on that.
You're welcome. I'm glad that was helpful. Hey, Lorraine.
Sorry, I'm here. Hold on. Oh, shoot, that's not working. Okay, I'm here. I had put something in the chat, but I have Square it was set up for my website for booking, and I am just having a devil of a time navigating the Square. So I'm wondering if there's anybody on the call that might be really good at it, that might be able to give me some tips on how to really make use of this properly.
That is a Laura question, or anybody else that uses Square, because I don't use it.
So are you saying you're having trouble utilizing it to charge, or are you having trouble with the dashboard and running reports?
Just the whole dashboard and setting up the the appointments and so on?
Yeah, I don't use any of the other functions of Square other than to charge a card. So I'm not going to be your right
Okay.
person for that. I don't
And
set
then-
up appointments. Mm-mm.
What do you use for your appointment setting, or do you, or just phone call?
Come lay down here. You know what? I'm old school. It's called a calendar. I use a calendar,
Me too.
paper calendar, because I got to
Mhm.
see it in front of me. So
Right.
people call me by appointment or they shoot me an email through my website, and I do it that way. I do coaching calls with Calendly, and that can be
Mhm.
used for any kind of appointment setting. Acuity is another one that you can use for appointment setting. I am so varied. As you guys know, I teach classes, then I teach my private classes, then I coach, and I do the work that my schedule changes so fast, I can't keep up with it on the website. And so they were starting to book my time and I didn't even realize I had appointments.
Mhm.
So I decided that didn't work for me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was in a way
yeah.
where I was thinking of just, it was feeling uncomfortable when somebody all of a sudden, oh, I have an appointment for, Sunday afternoon at 4, and oh, really?
Well, you need to, of course, block out your
Mhm.
times that you're not going to allow appointments.
Yeah, right.
Which I did. So I didn't get any surprises like on a Sunday afternoon when I didn't want it there.
Right.
But what was happening is that it was allowing them to book appointments with me, but I already booked different appointments. And so I was having to spend so much time chasing down,
Right.
reconciling the two, that I said, that's not working for me.
Okay, thank you.
I'm-
And that was
I'm-
something that Bill also had mentioned a little while back, is that he really prefers to just talk to the people because it makes a connection.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Okay,
I do the
Good.
same
That-
thing
that-
as Laura. I've got to have it written down. I've got to, if I don't put it on my
Mhm.
calendar and it just pops up there,
Yeah.
forget it. I'm in a completely, I'm not going to make the appointment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll
I have
forget
to
it.
see it. Mhm.
that I think that resolves the issue that I was having.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks.
And guys, there are some people who just love that auto appointment setting. It works
Mhm.
great for them. And I would suspect that they're just doing the work all day long. They're looking for these appointments, they're coming in, and that's all they're doing. And that's their focus. When you start having a really varied type of work schedule, it becomes more difficult to allow that to be automated.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was finding. Okay, great. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Lorraine. Randy, good to see you. Go ahead and
Hey,
unmute.
Laura. Sorry, I had to pull over and then unmute myself.
Okay.
I think I already know the answer to my question, but I'm gonna ask anyway. I did a signing, did 2 signings with a older couple. They were selling one property and buying another property. And the gentleman was 80 and he had a stroke a few years ago when he was a little hard of hearing. And his wife explained that, he can hear you, but a lot of things he prefers to read, and his comprehension is there if he reads it. So as we went through the signing, I spoke a little bit louder, went a little bit slower, and then I pointed out a bunch of key things in the documents. But as far as the oath goes, and this kind of goes back to a online discussion I saw, is it okay if they have to verbally say yes to the oath? Is there anything that says I have to verbally present the oath to them versus them reading it?
No, they just have to verbally respond. So if it's better to write it out, he can say it out loud. I swear that my document is true, whatever it is you want him to say out loud.
Okay.
Yeah, he can read it.
Okay. But does he have to actually say I swear, or can it be like, here, read this, and then he just acknowledges yes, or he says yes?
Every state is a little different in what they recommend. Some states are really old school and they're very, I solemnly swear, and it's a phrase that they use. Now your state isn't like that, Randy, and he can say I so swear, or yes, it's true.
Okay.
He can use any one of those verbal responses.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jennifer, what do you have for us today?
Hi, ladies. I wanted to, if I could, talk a little bit about the lady who brought up about her business cards at funeral events.
Sure.
I think about anything like that. Funeral events, so if you're gonna reach out to the staff of the funeral home during an event, it's not, that's their show. I'm gonna use those words. I know it's not a show, but that's their show. It's the same thing when you're trying to market to realtors. You're gonna go to open house, that's their show. You're not walking into open house and saying, hi, I'm a notary. I'm here, you know, I'd like to do business with you at their show. I think we just have to be really careful about not being bulldozers when we're trying to build our business. And it's easy to want to do that, to walk in the door of everywhere. I know I did at the beginning. Everybody I met, I would put a card in their hand. So I get it. But do you think that there is a more organic way to do that way before a funeral, besides just walking in and dropping off cards? With I have a funeral home that I work with in my town. He found me on Google and we're just it. He just calls me whenever he needs somebody. But is there another way to do that, to market to them kind of the same way you would market to a title office or to an escrow office, that you would have directly to them, non-event related?
I'm going to give you one guess what my answer is on that.
I don't know.
Yes,
I'm asking
absolutely. You can use pop-in style marketing for that, because it's, if you think about it, and just using a funeral home as an example, you know, they want somebody that is going to be professional and understanding of the type of situation that they are walking into, right? So like I said, I found my funeral home connections at the local chamber of commerce, because I just wanted to do them locally, because I know the times could be off. You know, I live in Dallas. I didn't want to be driving to Fort Worth. You know, it wasn't like I just wanted to do it locally. And so I applied the pop-in style marketing with the follow-up, and just asked for the meeting, you know, and it works, you know, it works. So, and they're just as happy to find a good, professional, educated mobile notary as a realtor, as a title office, you know, as anybody else.
Yeah. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Hey, Tammy, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. So I'm kind of tapping into some of the chat information that's been going on. I'm a relatively new signing agent, and I come from a mortgage background, so I'm not shy or intimidated about going into title offices or anything like that. And I've been doing a lot of it, and I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of business cards right now, and wondering what the best way is to manage my contacts. You know, I think going back to the CRM question and different platforms to use to just manage everything, because I feel like I'm kind of all over the place. And I'm using Notary Gadget to, is that a box of your business cards? So I'm using Notary Gadget to, oh my goodness, yeah, I feel like I'm getting there. I feel like
this
it's
is
getting
1
there.
year. This is just 1 year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Imagine having to put that in a CRM. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel like I want to stay on top of it before it gets too out of hand, you know, before it runs away from me. And so I'm using Notary Gadget to track my signings for my invoicing. And I just am using kind of a trial and error with Mile IQ right now, because I found in Notary Gadget, while you can track your mileage from, you know, your home to your signing and signing to home, all of the other things that you can write off mileage for is not really able to be logged and tracked in Notary Gadget. So I like the Mile IQ aspect, where it's automatically logging your mileage anytime you leave your house, anytime you're driving. So whether it's, you know, dropping a doc package back to title, I kind of wasn't thinking about logging that mileage before, or anywhere going to a networking event, I can track mileage. And so the Notary Gadget doesn't really give that option. And then so I guess long story short, just different ways people are organizing themselves, you know, how many different apps and platforms are most people using, and yeah, what is a good CRM to keep track of the escrow officers that I've visited and realtors that I have met, and just, you know, keeping up on that sort of thing.
Well, so you don't end up like me.
Yeah.
There's like 952 something business cards in here. I use this on one of my teaching calls. So I and I can tell you what I did, because I let it get out of control. the one for 2018 was even bigger. I paid my kids to do the data entry into my CRM. But so that said, there are as many ways to set it up as there are notaries available, right? Like you have to find something that works for you. And now that you're starting to go, I heard you say networking events, you're starting to do some other things. Mileage IQ will capture that for you. And you can, like, as you already know, label, this was a networking event, or this was a signing, or this was a title visit, or however you want to do that. I used that when I first started out too, and it worked really, really great. But finding a CRM, which is your customer relationship manager, that is what you're going to enter all this information to. And it doesn't have to be the same as your CRM or your bookkeeping, unless you want it to be, right? Like if you want to find a product that does that. So obviously, I'm going to recommend the Tom app as the CRM. But I also use Wix as my CRM. This may not be for you, Tammy, because it also hosts 2 of my websites. So it might be cost prohibitive for you. So it's really just about kind of finding what works and then going and reevaluating. I kind of look at it every year. January is sort of my reconcile month where I sort of look at everything and, is this accounting system I'm using working for me? Is this mileage tracker working for me? Is the CRM working for me? And sort of make some adjustments, because every year your business is going to grow. And as you take on new avenues of building your business, you're right, you're going to need different ways of tracking those items. So having the best thing, that's an opinion. That's someone's opinion, right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Just was trying to
but-
get kind of a consensus of like, is there 1 or 2 platforms that works, to encompass most everything, or is most people using kind of maybe 2 or 3 different apps and platforms to manage different aspects?
Well, let's have everybody drop some of their nuggets in the chat. What do you guys use for mileage, CRM, and bookkeeping? Because we'll probably have as many different answers as we have folks on the call. So, take a look at that. And like I said, just make sure if it starts to become difficult or cumbersome that you take a step back and really evaluate, is this still the right format for me?
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and you're getting all kinds of stuff down there.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, slow down. It's coming in so fast.
I know you're getting a ton of stuff. That's great.
Okay.
I found
All right.
SnapDocs that doesn't do too bad.
You use
Okay.
SnapDocs. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
They have all of that capability there as well.
Okay.
Hey, Steve-O.
How's it going again? I didn't say I was in Pennsylvania earlier.
Okay.
But my question was, it might be a stupid question, but it's for
No such thing.
it's for marketing. If you're going to market to schools, schools or colleges, when you go there, I guess, and there's probably different avenues, people have done different things, but who should you specifically reach out to? I mean, is it the HR manager, or if it's an elementary school, are you trying to speak with the principal? Are you trying to contact the superintendent? I know, again, that's probably like really elementary to everybody else who's on here has been doing it for years, but I'm just at that point. And I already see over here from Matt Miller.
At the admissions office. And Laura, do you agree with
Same
that?
thing right in that front office area, because they're going to have the forms. They're going to know what kinds of things might need notary service. If it's an elementary school, they've got those forms for the inter-district transfer that needs to be notarized. So I don't need to go higher up the line.
Gotcha, great. And then just real quick, this similar with like if you're just going to your local doctors, because I had seen, that could be like a good avenue. Do you just try to call and request an appointment to introduce yourself to the actual, the doctor who owns the place, or do you just kind of walk in? And again, that might sound.
Yeah, no, the doctor is not who you need to talk to. Usually it's the manager. I go to the front desk to find out. Sometimes they're called the manager or office manager, but that's usually who's making those arrangements. When I'm being called in for the doctor isn't calling me. It's the office manager that's calling me.
Okay, great. Thank you guys very much.
Mhm. All right. Anissa. Anissa, unmute yourself.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Back to Randy's question about the oath. I'm in Arizona, and I generally will let them know at the beginning of the signing that for each document that requires an oath, that I will have to give them a verbal oath. And then I say the oath, and I look to them for the response. Am I supposed to have them read it, or how does that work?
No, Anissa, that was just a special situation. He had a guy that was hard of hearing.
Gotcha.
He was looking for an alternative way to present the oath. That's all that was.
Oh, okay. So me saying it and them responding is the way to go.
That's the way all of us do it. Mhm.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see. Susan.
Oh, hi. Yes, maybe I should turn on my thing here. I don't know. Anyway, no, I was just responding to the other gal about a CRM. It's free unless you want the professional one, but it's called ScanBiz, and you take your business card and it scans it into the thing. So it has the picture and all the information, and it transcribes it into a CRM for you. Sometimes you have to, fool around with a little bit to get it just right. And then you can put, I want to contact this person at a certain date, and it will remind you to call that person, and it has a place for notes. So that's just, it's, I know it's on iPhone, ScanBiz, but I don't know about Android. So just an FYI on that. That's all. Thank
All
you.
right, Susan. Thanks for sharing that.
Great tip, Susan. Laverne.
All right, Laverne.
Hello.
Go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There you go.
My mouse is a little slow. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to drop that hand. Forget that.
That's okay. You're in Florida?
Yes, I am. Northern
All
Florida.
right. What's your question?
Actually, it wasn't a question. Like I said, I forgot to lower my hand earlier. So I do apologize.
All right. So you don't have anything at this moment to share, but welcome to TNT today. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Laura.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see. Somebody who's named iPhone or iPhoney.
Is that me?
That would be you.
Okay, my name's Alicia McNamer, and I am in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And you're in Oklahoma. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your first name.
Alicia.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What's your question?
Well, I have a situation. I found a signer, and they're closing docs tomorrow. And since it's not in the title company, I went to the title office and picked up documents, and they only gave me one set, which I found odd. So I went through them and, printed out the signer's set. And then I was inquiring about pay. And so I was told by the title company that was between the signer and myself. And that's all new to me. And I just want an opinion, because it's really new to the real estate agent also. I happen to know the real estate agent, and I was talking to her about it to see what she'd come across this, and she said no, and that this was new. And I'm just not sure.
Okay, Alicia. I've done it quite a few times. It's not new. And there are some title companies that if somebody makes an arrangement for their own notary, it's done outside of the closing, which means it's the signer's responsibility to pay for the notary service directly instead of it going through title.
Okay, so what are the steps that you take on that? Because as of right now, the signer doesn't know that.
So you tell the signer.
Okay.
Let them know that if you're hiring me directly, instead of me going through title, you'll be paying that fee directly to me separately. Everything else is bundled inside of your closing disclosure, all of those other costs.
Okay, because as of right now, we haven't even received the closing disclosure or the Alta.
Okay, it doesn't matter. You're just asking to help clarify for the person who hired you. If you hire me directly, then you'll be paying me directly rather than it being paid out of funds that are in the signing itself. Now, sometimes that's done. That's happened to me when I've done a credit union loan. And the credit union, when they use an outside notary other than one of their staff, then it's I hate to use the word liability, but for them, that's how they see it. And they say, look, if they're certified to do it, that's great, they can do it, but it's going to be outside of the monies that we release. So make sure that you get paid separately.
Okay.
And I would just look, Alicia, on the CD and the Alta when you do get it, just verify that they don't have your fee on there. Or and if they do, that it says, if they do have, which they by law should have your fee on there, that it says POC, paid outside of closing.
Right.
Okay. Well, I may not even see the CD because they said it may not come until the borrowers send it. The borrower side send it.
Are you doing a seller package closing?
I'm doing, yes, I'm doing a seller package. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, then,
yeah, it's definitely more common in a seller situation from my experience to be paid outside of closing. It's just anytime it happens the first time, it's like, wait a minute, this isn't the norm, right? Like, should I be worried about this? Yeah, nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. If it's on the seller side, it's not going to be on there. Just let them know. Like Laura said, just tell them that they are paying you at the time of service and have their invoice ready, their receipt ready to go. Generate a receipt for them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Great question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Randy's back. Randy, did you forget to lower your hand or did you have another question?
Ooh.
He's still muted, so he might be driving. I'll come back to you, Randy, if you did have one, but Guadalupe is next up.
Hi, I am in Ohio.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Guadalupe,
like,
what's your question?
Completely new. I only have my commission and that's pretty much it. So my question is, like, when you get like a signing package, let's say from like a signing company, or when you get it from oh my God, like direct business, like how do you go about, like, do you schedule with the signer yourself? Do you be like, hey, I can be there at 3 or I can be there at 4, or the signing company gives you like a time that you have to be at the signing's house?
So it happens both ways. Typically, there's an appointment set and they're asking you to contact the signers to confirm the appointment. But there's been plenty of times when I've been told open time, just get it done this day. And then I negotiate a time with the signer for that appointment based on the parameters that I've been given.
What if you already have, let's say, like, what if they say 5 and you already have an appointment at 5? Do you let go or do you let them know? What do you do?
Well, if I'm told it's for 5 o'clock and I'm already booked, I let them know I'm booked. My next available is, if for some reason there's flexibility, and then it's up to the hiring company to decide, yeah, that, that's fine. Why don't you go ahead and negotiate that with the signer, or for them to say, no, I'm going to look for a notary who's available at this time.
Okay.
I'm always upfront. I don't take an appointment and say yes, and then call the signer and say, oh, but we need to do it at 6 because I'm busy till then. Right? We don't mess around with the appointment if we've accepted it.
Okay, I understand. Okay. I think I have a question about this. Can you get the customers management program like just that, or does it have to be as a packet? The CRM, I think, customer relations. Oh my God.
You can get a free CRM. I'm not quite sure what you're asking that you only want, but the free ones will give you the minimum you need if you're just looking to get started.
Yeah. Okay. And then, like, when you guys start, like, do you use your phone number or do you add a new number just for that?
Okay, and Jen, I don't see you, so I don't know if you just
I'm
stepped
here.
off. Okay, I didn't see your face.
We have a lot of hands
Do
up.
you want to talk about the extra phone number?
I
don't.
It's Guadalupe. It's entirely up to you on how you want to do that. My phone, that is my livelihood, my connection to business, right? So I don't have an extra number. I know a lot of people do have a Google number because they want to keep things separate. So it is really what works best for you.
Yeah.
And I would say, since you're so new, I know you're trying to keep costs really low. The only thing you need to know if you're going to use your own phone is if you have a number that pops up and you don't know it, you got to answer it, right? That's the downside to using your personal number.
I didn't have it with me.
In life, we don't like to do that sometimes, right? So, but I would say limiting your costs is probably what you're thinking about. So maybe see how it works with your own phone for a while, and then try it out with another one if you need to.
Okay.
There's no hard, fast rule about that. It's entirely up to you and how you want to conduct business.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Great
You're
questions.
welcome.
Thank you.
Congrats on getting started.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank
Okay.
you. I'm excited.
So let's see. We've got iPhone, but I don't see you. Go ahead and unmute and tell us who you are.
Is it iPhone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. My name is Quintus, and I live in New York. I have a question. In confirming calls prior to making the appointment, is there a way of avoiding, I guess, any type of printing of documents of cancel? I mean, I guess reprinting of documents, let's say if the numbers are wrong on the documents. Is there any way to figure out or let the signer be aware of the numbers prior to you arriving at the appointment, so you don't print the wrong documents? Or if you get there, you find out, or the signer find out that the numbers are wrong prior to you arriving.
That's a really good question. And I think that one practice that I implemented early on was, if they asked about it's up to the loan officer or the title company, but really the onus is on that loan officer. They're supposed to have those numbers in their hands 3 days before closing. Does that always happen? No. But if you get questions about it, I always refer them back to their loan officer, because you as the notary don't necessarily know what's going on behind the scenes. And if they're making some last minute changes or something that doesn't affect the APR that would cause them to have to redisclose that closing disclosure, and they're just changing a few fees here and there, you may not be aware of that. So you may have a version that's old and you don't even know it. So always refer the person to please contact your loan officer to make sure you've had the opportunity to review the numbers before our meeting, to review that closing disclosure before our meeting.
And I'd like to add to what Jen's saying, because that confirmation call, guys, is like solid gold. You can use that call to not only have that kind of issue resolved, but that's where I start talking about the right kind of ID. Not just do you have a photo ID, but if you're in a state that says, and it's got to be this, that, or the other thing, then say this, that, or the other thing. This is also a good time to verify that you're not going to have issues with the name on the ID. And if you do, let's get that worked out now. And if there's going to have to be credible witnesses, they have time to adjust for that, so we don't have a surprise at the table. There are other things you can also address on the phone when you're doing the confirmation, like both of you are going to be there. Both people speak English. And there's some others. There's about 5 or 6 different questions I go through during a confirmation call, so that I really am not going to have any surprises at the table.
That's an excellent point.
Gosh, that confirmation call is so valuable. Don't just call and say, hey, it's 4 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Hey, I'm Jen. It's 4 o'clock tomorrow. That brings up the junior question we had from earlier in the call. That's a perfect time to say, you know, my order says that you are a junior. I just want to verify that you have federal documentation that has junior on, you know, just those kinds of little things, because every closing is different. This is unfortunately not the rubber stamp kind of business where every situation is the same. Every situation's different. So that confirmation call, like Laura said, that is gold to account for all of those special things that we know tend to pop up and cause these surprises. But I would definitely say refer to your loan officer for the numbers, because you will be the last one to know as the notary. You will be the last one to know if there's changes. And I mean, I've gotten updated closing disclosures and Altas while I'm sitting at a closing table.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm sorry, just as a follow-up, then I'll let someone else. So in the event that the information is wrong and you print it out every day, who do you refer to? Whoever that hires you, let them know, or you just take it as a loss and then, you know, just go from there?
So you're asking if the documents were incorrect and the buyer realizes that at signing and you've already printed 2 copies, what is your liability for that?
Yes. Do I? No. Well, do I guess take it as a loss, or ask the hiring company to pay me for the trip fee, or?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. Because you've gone out, that you've printed twice. You've used paper, you've used ink, gas is expensive right now. You know, I don't know if this is the right, you know, a signing service should compensate you for the trip and the paper and the printing and the time to do that. You may not get your whole fee, but you should negotiate definitely for a portion of your fee to cover those expenses. And then hopefully when they get the paperwork corrected, you'll be able to go out for the full fee again and take the job again for the signer.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Let's see if we can get Sam in here before we close up today. Sam, unmute.
Hey, Laurie.
Hey.
All right. So I'm in Michigan, and this past weekend I was doing a California closing, and then the closing disclosure is something I've never seen. There was a California per diem interest charge disclosure, and it had this box which needed to be checked whether they wanted to.
Oh, you muted yourself, Sam.
It was a call coming.
There we go.
Disbursement occur on a Monday or a day immediately following a bank holiday. And I've done almost 2,000 closings in the past 2 years. I've never seen this. And I've done a few California closings too. I have never seen this one. I kind of tried to Google it and got an explanation. It just got more confusing. How do you easily explain this to the signer and, you know, and figure out if they need to check the box or don't need to check the box, or if the box has to be checked at all?
Well, Jen, do you want, I mean, first of all, this form has been around forever. It is a pain for us in California. We do see it. It's not our job to explain it so that they can understand what's the right choice, because that is explaining, and we're not allowed to explain. We're only allowed to introduce. Now, Jen, do you have, I mean, you're in Texas, so you're probably not going to see.
I'm in California. I'm a reverse mortgage loan specialist. I see that form all the time.
All the time, huh? Okay.
All the time, every single
What would
one.
you say then?
That is basically when they order the payoff, depending on when it's been ordered, there may be a little bit of interest that's still being charged on their previous loan, and that they just want you to check that, you know, you understand that the numbers might not be exactly to the cent of what it says on the disclosure, that there might be a little bit of, per diem means daily interest,
right,
and that there might be a little bit more interest being charged based on what they get from the previous mortgage company. That's about the best way I could explain it.
So it kind of covers their rear end.
The rear end,
until the
exactly.
payoff to the exact date of the funding date.
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
got you. Got you. So that's a great explanation. It's just the amount of interest that your payoff may not exactly match based on when this funds. And I'm assuming that's in case there's like something comes in late and you got to fund the next day and charge an extra day of per diem, right?
Correct.
Laura, you're the
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really all it is. And it's sometimes they'll even have a number there of what the per diem is, and it's never very much money.
No, yeah.
At all. But we can't get too deep into it. They need to talk to a loan officer. Because if we cross the line and move from introduction to explaining, then there could be issues for us.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this particular one had like $133 daily.
Yeah, there you
interest.
go. Yeah. That's
And,
what they're talking about.
Yeah, it must have been a big
small
loan that they
number.
were paying off. Yeah, a big loan that they were paying. I'm in California, by the way, so I see it all the time.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's a big one.
So the second part was it does have to be checked no matter what, right? That box.
They're acknowledging that they understand what that per diem is what it sounds like to me. Is that accurate, Laura?
Well,
By
yeah, I
checking that
believe without
box.
looking at this particular one, because there's even two versions. Somebody's sharing if we could.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to do that.
Not do that. Whoever you are there. Thank you. So that there are two versions of that form, and one has two boxes and one has one. So again, for me to tell them, yes, it has to be marked or not is not, you know what I'm saying? It's still not my place. Because if I tell them to mark it and it wasn't supposed to be marked, they're gonna say, well, the notary said I should do it.
Right. And then it becomes your liability. If you have any questions about it as you're reviewing your packet, your paperwork before you go to your closing, I would call the title office or loan officer. Start with your title office.
Right.
There should be some instructions in there about what they need to do. So check your instructions. If not, make that phone call and just, even if there's nobody there, leave a message and say, hey, I need you to call me back and just, I want to get this right for you. Loan officers, realtors, title people, signing companies, they would all rather you ask the question than guess, right?
Yeah,
And they can leave you a message and follow up with you that way. I cannot believe it's already 3 o'clock. After 3 o'clock, you guys, this hour has gone by so fast. Thank you, Laura, so much. I wish we could get to everybody, but I know we've got to cut things off.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me to co-host with you today.
Well, you're welcome. It was nice change up.
I had a
Thanks for
blast.
everybody. Thank you, Matt, for answering questions in the chat as well.
Yes.
Enjoyed seeing everybody. We had almost 200 people. So
oh my
we'll see you
gosh.
next Tuesday. And I think it's going to cut off. Trisha's going to stop the recording. It's 1 o'clock. And we'll see you next time, guys.
Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.